So if you read a verse, which is the 11th verse in a chapter, and the word is saying, the passage starts with the word because, what is it telling you? That Leviticus 17:11 is explaining the passage that precedes it. Because what? Because what? Because you can't start with because. You first have to start. So, what is the title of Leviticus 17 and 10 and 11? Now, all Christians know Leviticus 17:11 because Hebrews 9:22 misquotes it, but they have no clue what it says in the verse before. So, it is forbidden in Jewish law to eat blood. No one's allowed to eat blood. It's forbidden. And the Torah says that, in fact, anyone who eats blood, that person will be completely cut off. You're not allowed to eat blood. The British, they eat these blood sausage, little stupidity. You're not allowed to eat blood. The next verse tells us why. But the key is you got to know what is the title. If you wanted to give these passages a title, so the title is why is it haram, forbidden to drink blood? So the next verse says, because the life force of an animal is in the blood, and I only gave you the blood for one purpose, and that is to pour on the altar to make an atonement for sins. So the text is not saying that you can't have an atonement without the shedding of blood. That's the filth of Hebrews 9:22. The text is simply saying that within the corpus of bringing a sacrifice, there are many rituals that go on. There's the bringing the animal in, the person putting their hands on the animal, but there's also the slaughtering, the collecting of the blood and pouring the blood on the altar, which is called the avodas hadam, the work, the work of the blood, meaning the things that are part of the ritual of eating the blood. The blood, therefore, if any mistake is made when when the animal is slaughtered, when the blood is collected, when the blood is carried or sprinkled on the altar, if there's 4 parts, then the whole sacrificial part is completely annulled. It's voided, because it's the blood part that makes the atonement, the blood of the animal. It is not saying that you need a sacrifice for every kind of sin, and without the shedding of blood, there is no atonement. That's the filth from Hebrews 9:22. And in fact, the sacrificial system, with almost no exception, I'll tell you the exception quickly, because else the Christians will go crazy. So the blood sacrifice only works for unintentional sins. That's the main reason. If you commit a sin unintentionally, you didn't mean to rebel against God, but you're through carelessness you sin. That's Leviticus 4. You sinned either unintentionally or intentionally, but you confessed your sin. So then you can bring a guilt offering. And then if you brought a sacrifice in a state of impurity, so then you could, on Yom Kippur, that sacrifice would undo it. So in reality, the vast majority of sins, there's no sacrifice. If you steal, you have to pay back double. There's no sacrifices. The people of Nineveh in the book of Jonah, a great prophet of blessed memory, they sinned, and it was decreed upon that in 40 days the city would be overturned. And what do? They appealed to God's mercy and repented, and God forgave them. There's no sacrifice there. So therefore, what the text is saying, the reason why you can't eat blood, it's not about that text is not about atonement. It's about the prohibition of eating blood. I only gave you can only do one thing with blood, and that is use it for a sacrifice for atonement. You can't use it for anything else. What it doesn't say is what it says in Hebrews 9:22. So it's taken out of context. But you got to ask a Christian, when they quote Leviticus 17, you say, if the text begins with the word because. Now, then the Christians don't know this. And also, the translations make it a nightmare because they use for, I don't know, the King James, for. But the word is because. That's what the word is. So it's for what? That means, what is it talking about? If you ask a Christian, not 99, 100 out of 100 Christians, what is Leviticus 17:10 about? They have no clue.